have a good time, live a good life. What you mean when you say you are new, hey? What you mean when you play like all night? Nightlife is a highlight, I'm a fly guy, this is skyline. I don't got the time for my problems, I got the time to dissolve them. Music is my oxygen, I'm breathing, no stopping. Human but my oxygen, the music when it's dropping. Some about these vibes provided in these lines. I'm trying to design the rhyme, checking my mind. Music be described, I got ahead of my time. Beat be prescribed, cause I feed it full of lines. Money ain't nothing, you turn it into something. I'm selling for the money, make you look real funny. Put my own name in discussion, I'm a hustler. Working real hard to show you that I'm coming, So let me tell you that it's going on.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Great White Northerner, and we're going to do something a little bit different today. So through all my coin roll hunting and quarters and so on, I may have mentioned a few times that I don't really collect much in the way of the US quarters, just because there's so many varieties, and you start looking at, each one of the state quarters and national park quarters, and then they got a P and a D and a W, and so there's all sorts of them to collect, and my thinking was it was just a lot to kind of be hanging on to, but I've changed my mind. I've decided I am going to start collecting these. I have noticed as I've been going through that there were definitely some really nice ones in the quarters that I was coming across, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try putting together a collection. I see enough of them just through my coin hunts that I should be able to slowly get all of these. So I had been hanging on to my US quarters, and so I'm going to go back through the quarters that I've already gone through, and I'm going to start going through these to see if I can pull out the state quarters. So lately, with this in mind, I've been not collecting all or keeping all of the US quarters. I've just been kind of putting them back in rolls, but I've pulled any of the state quarters out, and I've been putting them into some rolls. And then I do have a whole box, well, not a whole box, but I have a box here of quarters to go through, with a mix of state quarters and the parks quarters in there. So I will go through those and see what I can pull out of that to fill up these books. So I did find these books online on Amazon. I'll put a link in my description. I do put links in there for things that I'm using, the light systems that I have here, and some of the equipment that I'm using. So if you feel up to it and you want to follow some of those links, that would help me greatly as a part of the Amazon Partners program. And that would be awesome if you could do that. That will help the channel keep me going as far as kind of funding some of the costs here. These weren't too expensive. I think they were like $6 a piece Canadian, so not a big deal. I did actually get a couple other books as well that I'll probably start, because I do have pennies and nickels, so I did get a couple more books that I will do maybe in another video. And yeah, with all that said, I'm going to start getting into it. I think what I will do is I'll just start going through, and if I find some stuff interesting, I have gone through all these, so there's not going to be any varieties, or there shouldn't be any varieties in them, but I'll maybe kind of pull you in as I'm going through, and if I find some nice stuff. I did notice actually when I was opening up this state quarter, and maybe those of you down in the States already knew this, but one of the things that I found interesting in here is that I always wondered how they kind of figured out, what ones came out in what year. And it was actually as they were brought into the Union, they follow that same order, somewhere in here. They follow that order for each of the coins. So of course the very first one is Delaware and Pennsylvania, so 13 colonies in the beginning. So yeah, so that was kind of an interesting little fact. I'm going to get into this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying this stuff. This one will be a little bit different, and hopefully you enjoy it. All right, I'll bring you back in as I am going through this stuff. I'm going to pull them all out, and then I'll divide them up into state and national park quarters. So, all right, so I've just gone through the first couple loose rolls that I had, which was stuff that I've just been setting aside over the last couple months, actually. And so I'm going to organize the state quarters. I've got the first 13 I'm going to work on up here, and then I'll organize the rest all in order as they are in the book. I'll just stack them up, and then I'll pick the nicest ones and make a typeset of each. So that's going to be my process. I'll start working on the rest of the box now. I had a few in there that for some reason were just the regular US quarters, so I pulled those out. And then I've got my parks quarters kind of off to the left here, so I'll come back and do those afterwards. So we'll do the state quarters first, and I'll bring you back in as I get closer to the end of the book, or end of the box. Okay, so we got everything organized here. We have all 13 of the original colonies up at the top here, and then I started doing these, I tried to do these in order by the book, but I just ended up doing them alphabetically. It's just way easier to do it that way. So the rest of these are all stacked up alphabetically. Got 53 stacks here. The book has 56 spots in it, so I guess that's because of the territories that are included in the book, things like Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, that sort of thing. So that added up to 56 spots. So I'm missing a few. I also got a couple that are just singles. So there is a decent, well, obviously I'm not going to get both a P and a D in that. So I got some collecting to do still. And I'm going to go through all these. So I'm going to pick out the best two. So one Philadelphia and one Denver. And then, of course, that brings me to the point that I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I actually hadn't picked up on it because the other books, the nickel and the penny book, I very specifically had looked for ones that had slots for both the Philadelphia, Denver, and the San Francisco mint marks. This particular book, of course, now when I look at it, only has one slot for each particular quarter. So I am going to have to order another one, and I'll do one that's Philadelphia and one that's Denver. But anyway, that's fine. Not a big deal. So I will organize at least one. We'll maybe do the Philadelphia first, and I'll set aside a set for the Denver one. So finish up with the state quarters. I'll get that organized, and then I got all the park quarters off to the left here, and I will work through those and make sure I've got a Philadelphia and Denver version, or at least as many of them as I can find out of what I've collected so far. All right, I'll bring you back in a minute. All right, so we have everything in the book now. And I actually had most of them. The only thing that I don't have, I actually don't have a P or D version of the main quarter. But as you can see, I have most of the rest here. I'm also missing a lot of the more recent ones. So Guam, American Samoa. You can see I've got all the rest in here. This Tennessee one I've kind of partially put in. Don't know if you can see it. Yeah, so the Tennessee here. It's a little rougher than I'd like it to be, so I'm not going to put it all the way in because they're kind of difficult to take out. You can see I got most of them here. And then the only ones I'm missing are some of the more recent territories at the end there. So I do have U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, but I'm missing Guam, American Samoa, and the Northern Mariana Islands. So pretty good start to the state quarter set. And then as far as the Denver ones go, I am actually missing a few of those as well. So all the ones that I'm missing from the Philadelphia mint, I'm also missing from here. And then there's a few other ones. I don't remember. Iowa, I think it's one. Whatever was there. So a few. This is from the first 13, which would be North Carolina, I believe I'm missing from here. Yeah, almost got them all. So set these aside, and then I'm going to work on the park quarters, and I'll bring you in for those. Well, it looks like I got my work cut out for me for the park quarters. I actually have a lot of holes here. So you can see what I have managed to put in here. The 2011 Glacier National Park. I've got a Acadia National Park from Maine. Perry's Victory. But yeah, you can see I am missing quite a few. I actually thought I had more than that, but it turns out that these are my Denver minted ones over here. I actually have more of the Denver minted ones than the Philadelphia minted ones. So I'm doing the Philadelphia book first because I typically get more Philadelphia coins. But anyway, so that's what I've got so far. No W's. Haven't found a W yet in the more recent ones. And so I will get another book, and I will put all the Denver ones in. And I've got one set aside here that's pretty decent just to show the obverse. And so anyway, yeah, we've got some work ahead of us. So I will keep looking for those, and I'll let you know if I find some more as I'm going through my quarter boxes. So the one thing I did find as I was going through this is I found a little bit of an error coin. And this is the, what do we got here? Apostle Islands. And I don't know if you can make it out there, but you can kind of see it's a little bit off-centered. So the coin was not stamped quite centered, which is not a big deal. It's not off-center enough to really make it anything too spectacular, but there is some doubling on it. So I don't remember where it was now. Let me just throw it up here. But I believe it's over here in the, yeah. So you can see, oh, get my finger out of the way. That's my finger, sorry, on the microscope. But there is doubling all through unum. And right now I'm getting a bit of a shadow. Let me see if I can, there you can see better that doubling that's on there. So a bit of doubling, a little off center. You can see it just before there as well on some of the letters in E pluribus, just near the end. So it could just be a coin stutter on the stamp, hard to say, but anyway, a little different, and I'm going to hang on to that one. I'll set that one aside. Plus it is a little off center as well. And yeah, keep working away on getting this Parks Quarter hunt finished up, and I'll get that other book and do all the Denver ones as well. So thanks for coming along, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. This is a little bit different content than a normal hunt. All these coins I had gone through before, although I did miss that off-center one, the off-center strike that we were just looking at, and the doubling on it. So it's kind of nice to go back through and just double check, make sure I didn't miss any errors. And yeah, got a good start. All right, thank you so much, everybody. You guys all have a great day. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good time, live a good life. What you mean when you say you are new, hey? What you mean when you play like all night? Nightlife is a highlight. I'm a fly guy, this is skyline. I don't got the time for my problems. I got the time to dissolve them. Music is my oxygen, I'm breathing, no stopping. You remember my oxygen, the music when it's dropping. Some of these vibes provided in these lines. I am to design the rhyme, checking my mind. Music being scribed, I got ahead of my time. Deeply prescribed, cause I feed it full of lines. Money ain't nothing, you turn it into something. But something for the money make you look real funny. Put my own name in discussion, I'm a hustler. Work real hard to show you that I'm coming. Yeah. So let me tell you